I'm a canner, so that begs the question, why do I have this, and this, and this, and this floating around my refrigerator? And it gets worse. Here's from the pantry. This one, and this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. Yes, we like mustard. Why am I not making it anymore? I made mustard very early on in my canning career, and I haven't made it since. And yet I seem to buy mustard every time I go to the grocery store, and I have to open a new variety every time we have something different. So today we're going to start to fix that. I'm going to make another recipe out of Not Your Mama's Canning Book, and we're going to make whole grain Dijon mustard. It's a little bit different than the one from the ball book, but we're going to give this one a shot today and see if I can't stop doing this insanity. So welcome to Grow and Preserve. I'm Carter. I'm glad you're here with me today. Let's get started. All right, so I'm just reading the directions through again, which is generally a good idea before you start. And we are just simply in this first step infusing the liquid with the onion and garlic flavor. And then we're pouring it over the mustard seeds and mustard powder and salt to steep for 24 to 48 hours. So I was thinking before that we were putting everything in and letting it cook and then just soak, but we're not. It's just the liquid that we're going to infuse. So let's get that going. I have everything measured out, so I am ready to go. So this is 1.5 cups of dry white wine. At least I think it's dry. And 1 cup of white wine vinegar. Yep. And then 2/3 of a cup of water. All right, that's 1 cup of white wine vinegar. 2/3 of a cup of water. And then we have 1 onion, roughly chopped. Mine is really kind of roughly sliced. And how many cloves of garlic? Let me see. 1 clove of garlic, peeled and roughly chopped. So the idea then is that these will steep in the liquid, and then after they have boiled for 15 minutes and extracted all the flavor, we'll strain them and just have the liquid that is going to go over the mustard seeds to steep for 24 to 48 hours. So it says to give this mustard at least a week. Generally you hear 3 or 4 weeks for mustard to kind of calm itself down. So we'll see on this one. But obviously I love mustard. So hopefully I can eat it right away and give you guys a taste test. Okay, I'm going to bring this up to a boil, let it boil for 15 minutes. Then it needs to come down to room temperature, and then we'll strain it into the mustard seeds. So I'll be back to show you that part. Okay, let's wrap up today's piece of this. The liquid and the onions and garlic boiled for 15 minutes, and now it's come down to room temperature. It's been about 45 minutes since they finished boiling. So I'm going to bring you down, and we're going to get the rest of it put together. This smells so good. I'm trying to come up with some way to use the onions and garlic that we're straining out here. Okay. Let that drain for a second, and we're going to add, I have already measured these out, 3/4 of a cup of whole yellow mustard seeds. So I have those. 1/4 cup whole brown mustard seeds, and 1/4 cup of mustard powder, and a teaspoon of salt. So let's get this going. This is my 1/4 cup of mustard powder. Get these in, we're just going to stir them around and then cover it with plastic and let it set. It says 24 to 48 hours. So I'm hoping for 24, but we'll see. And this is 3/4 of a cup of yellow mustard seed. 1/4 cup of brown mustard seed, a teaspoon of salt. All right, so when this is thickened, I get this stirred up now. See this? It's not, it's not real pretty looking at the moment, but it smells fantastic. So I'm really excited about this one. So in 24 to 48 hours, when this has thickened, we're gonna come in with a stick blender. It says a blender or a food processor or a stick blender. I'm gonna use a stick blender. It's not that much in quantity here. And we will blend it up, and then we'll heat it up, and then we'll jar it up, and then we'll can it. So I will see you back for that in either 24 or 48 hours. All right, let's get back to the mustard now. This was supposed to sit on the counter for 24 to 48 hours. It has actually been 72 hours since I put this in here. Life, you know, it just got in the way. Had a little emergency I had to take care of. So at 48 hours, when I knew I wasn't gonna get to it, I stuck it in the refrigerator, and it has been waiting for me. So today, we're gonna get it jarred up, canned, and call this project done. Let's get this blended up. I'm going for kind of a medium chunky. I don't want it too smooth, and I don't want it all grainy, or my husband won't like it. So let's see how we do here. Getting mustard seeds all over the place here. Okay, let me show you what we have. That's looking like a good consistency for us. Still chunky, but it's pulled together now. It's not just seeds. So let's go with that. So now what we're gonna do is put this in the pan, and then we're gonna take it over and bring it up to a boil again. It's gonna be splattery now because it's so thick, so we have to keep a good eye on it. And I'm gonna turn the small canner on so that we can start heating up those jars. It's just a water bath canning recipe, as I think we've covered. It's about 15 minutes. I'm gonna take just a little taste. Oh, wow. That's spicy. It says to give it at least a week. I think it's probably more like 4 to 6 weeks based on my past experience, that you really need to let it set so it mellows just a little bit. All right, I'm gonna take this over to the stove, and I'll bring you with me. All right, now we're gonna bring this up to a boil. I think I might add just a tiny bit of water. I think letting it sit extra long made it a little thick. It says it should be the consistency of ketchup. And you can see that is not quite the consistency of ketchup. So let me grab a little bit of water. Add it just a little bit at a time. Get it to loosen up just a little bit. It's feeling better. Remember, as it cans and then comes out of the canner and cools off, it's going to thicken up quite a bit, so you don't want it too thick going in. There we go. Okay, now I think we're good. So I'm thinking that if you did this in the time limits they gave you in the instructions, that this might not be a problem. But if it does become a problem for you, or you end up going longer, at least you know what to do. Still feels a little thick to me, doesn't it? got just a smidge more water. There's that boil starting. Okay, I'm going to pour the mustard into the 2-cup measuring cup here. Make this part a little easier. Okay, so this makes 2 cups. Not the 4 jars I have out here, but I've got them in case I need them. It looks like, though, we're just a little higher than 2 cups. So let's get these in. ¼ inch headspace. Now, I don't think I have a whole half pint left in here, but I might have a 4-ounce jar, so let me check that. Okay, I have a little 4-ounce jar. Just wash that out in some very hot water. Brand new jar. So, lucky to find it. I didn't have anything else up here. Look at that. Perfect. Add a little bit more here. I'm just going to even these out. They look pretty good. Okay, let's debubble. What do I have to debubble? Now, you shouldn't use a metal utensil to debubble, but I don't have a plastic one handy, so that's what we're using today. I'm just going to be very careful. Okay, let's wipe the rims. If we didn't like mustard so much, I probably would have done these all in 4-ounce jars. And then I'd end up with 5 of them, or 4 according to the recipe. That might have felt more like it was worth the time, right? But that's all right. We eat a lot of mustard, as I showed you earlier. Okay. Some new lids. If you don't have your lids, your 4 jars lids, get your lids. We don't know what supply chains are going to do next year. All of that just causes me concern. So if you have the money now and the time to order, it would be a good time to order, I think. So if you use the link below, you get a 10% discount, or if you use anybody else's link below, you should probably get the same discount. I'm not positive, but you should. All right, so let's get these in the water bath canner. All right, I'm going to bring you over here and show you how many extra jars I have in the canner. Okay, so I think you can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4 extra jars. That's just to fill up the space, because if I don't do that, when this really gets rolling, the jars will tip over and then I can have sealing issues. So always just stick an empty jar in there. If you want to can some water, it'll be sterile water when it comes out. You could flush a wound or, you know, whatever you need with that. I have plenty of that already done. So I'm not going to do it today. I prefer to have the jars as jars right now. So, all right, the canner has just come up to a boil. I'm going to let these process for 10 minutes, and then I'll turn the canner off, remove the lid, let them cool down just a bit for about 5 minutes, and then we'll take them out and we'll be done. So I think I mentioned earlier that you should let mustard sit. The book says at least a week. I think it should be probably longer than that. I think the Ball book, I'll look that up because I want to check the differences between the recipes, tell you which one I think I will do next time. But I think it's probably 3 to 4 weeks, maybe 6 weeks. So let me check and I'll get back to you. Okay, so it just finished processing. I'm going to give it a minute to cool off. I was looking in the Ball book to find the one that I made last time. I've only made mustard one time, and I didn't find it in here, but I did find one called cranberry mustard that I think sounds wonderful. I still have some cranberries left from Thanksgiving, so I think I may try that one. If you've done it, please let me know what you think. And here, I did find the recipe that I used before, and I have my funny little notes here. So it is, let's see, get this off. Okay, Whims and Sonoma, The Art of Preserving. I did Dijon style mustard on page, no idea, 194. So here are my little notes. This was one of my first ones. I was nervous about it setting, so I put it in the refrigerator. I added horseradish to it and some extra wine, and then here you go. Gross at the beginning. We'll check it 2 weeks. Added some honey. So now maybe we know why I didn't try making mustard again. So I'm hoping that this grainy mustard is going to be much better. And now, of course, that I know what I'm doing, I won't have to panic about it. So anyway, let's get these out of here. This is what this one is supposed to look like. So we will see. I did not see a good grainy, non-beer kind of mustard in the Ball book at all. So I'm glad I found this recipe. All right, it looks like the book. I think it looks good. I think I'm going to be happy with this. I hope I will. It was kind of, you know, wild tasting at the beginning, but it's supposed to be, and back then I didn't know that. So this one I hope for better results. I will let you know in a couple of weeks or 3 or 4 weeks when I try it if I don't like it. But I think it's going to be just perfect. All right, so it says you can stick it in a blender or food processor or use a stick blender. I find the stick blender is always the easiest. So I'll turn the volume down for you and I'll get this stirred up a little bit. So thanks so much for being here, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.